Hello everybody, I have been thinking for a while that I want to make small guides on how to lane with different champions. Today we're going to start with Renekton. And it's going to be Renekton versus Gnar, which is a very common matchup. You're going to meet it a lot in solo queue. You see it on pro play and you see it pretty much everywhere right now. First we're going to go over the runes. On Renekton versus Gnar you want to have 80 reds, armor yellow, cooldown in blues, at least 6 of them. And then the last 3 can have magic resist per level, or cooldown per level, it doesn't matter. In the quints you want to have either 80 or attack speed, depending on what you prefer. It's not too important which one you have, but both of them are good. Now, we're gonna go over how to play this matchup. So then you're playing Renekton versus Gnar. First, what you want to aim at doing all the time is you want to push the Gnar in. As long as you're pushing in the Gnar, you're gonna have the advantage because he can't damage you as easy. So the number one goal of this matchup is simply push at all times. Try to stand behind minions so you don't get queued by him, and avoid his free hits with his W. Now let's actually look over a matchup where this happens, and I'm going to be watching Kayle from Korea, and we're going to see how he plays this matchup. Alright, so let's follow him. The early game here, it doesn't matter, we're just going to see one thing that you see high elo players do a lot, or at least Koreans, because some European high elo players are lazy, just like I am. You see them invading the enemy, trying to get an advantage from level 1, because it can help them win the game, and if they get a small advantage early game, it can snowball the rest of the game, which means they might get a win out of this and climb the ladder, which they want to do. So they walk into the enemy jungle, and they just try to see if they can catch somebody. They don't manage to catch somebody, which is unlucky, and they simply just walk back out, right? Or they're gonna maybe steal the red buff as they're doing here. There's multiple options, right? But they want to start on one buff, and they're just gonna secure that one. We're just gonna X8 here, because this is not so important. So take the Raptors, that's fine. They start up here. The enemy team probably knows this, so they're just gonna go take their own buff into the red buff, or he's gonna get tricked and waste a lot of time. But this is not all important because this is the jungle. We're gonna look at the top lane. So first of all, what you're gonna see Renekton doing is you will see him trying to push this wave really hard. He's gonna start Q because Q helps him push, and he's always gonna be trying to push the wave. As you could see, he walked into the middle of the minions. Q hits all of them, and then he walks back. He doesn't try to trade with the Gnar, he just tries to push. Once he's level 2, he might try to go for a trade, but until then, he doesn't need to go for any trades. He's just only going to focus on pushing and taking as little damage as possible while doing so. You can see he's saving his Empowered, or his Rage, so you can have Empowered Qs and Empowered Es for more damage than the Gnar. It's very important that he doesn't waste that, so you can go in and hit him. All this trade wasn't very good, because he doesn't get to do enough damage by doing this. Normally, when you use your EQ combo, you want to do more damage. Having equal trades with Renekton Gnar is good for Renekton, because Renekton had the sustain of his Stone Shield, and he got the sustain of his Qs, which heals him. He got much more sustain than Gnar, so he's always going to try and go for small trades like this. I do believe that he should be getting an auto attack in while doing this trade, but it's not too big of a deal. He just wants to trade and get out. As you can see, he's always pushing. He's trying to push it slowly because he wants to set up a potential dive right now. He knows that Elise is on the top side, he just sees that. And he's trying to set up a dive, which they managed to do very nicely. He tanks the tower, he's going to kill him down, and there's nothing Gnar can do, right? Generally, the only reason he kept the waves like this, by slow pushing it in, was because Elise had the entire top side, and he knew that. If Elise wasn't on the top side of the entire time, Renekton would be trying to push the tower into the, or push the waves into the enemy tower much quicker. He's going to TP back to the wave. This is very normal. He wants to TP back so he doesn't lose minions because he wants to keep his advantage. Also, if you look at his items right now, he buys boots and damage and then a potion. Normally, I tell people don't buy boots because it's generally not very necessary on top lane, because you're playing as melee champions versus melee champions. But since he's playing melee versus ranged, boots is actually very, very good, because now he can trade and get out much easier, which is what you want to do. So, when you want to trade with Gnar, what you want to look at is have Gnar miss the Q, or have Q on cooldown. As you can see right now, Q is on cooldown because he just wasted it. And then you go on for the trades. You don't want to trade with Gnar while his Q is up, because you're going to lose the trades. All this is a bad trade because he went too far, and it doesn't work out for him. But he won't die because Gnar's Q is on cooldown. So it's not going to be a problem for him. He's going to be able to heal this up and sustain it as well. Which is what I said earlier. Renekton wants to go for small trades all the time, where he can sustain himself. This trade of all was a bit too greedy, it wasn't good for him. And the only reason it works out is because he got the item lead and the level lead. That's why it's not too bad. But you can see he only goes for trades whenever the Q is in cooldown, and whenever the Q misses him. Or, for example, right there where it's in cooldown, right? The main part about it is to have the stacks off you. You don't want to have the stacks off on you while Gnar have Q up. So for example, right here, you have a stack on you, you wait for the stack to be out, and then you can start trading with it now. The stack is out right now, you can go on him because he's cured on cooldown, he can stack up again, and you're gonna have a decent trade, which is what this Renekton tries to do all the time. And basically this is how you play the entire lane phase. You're gonna keep being the same. Every time you push in, you can roam down, maybe take the crap, get some wards out, gank the mid lane. You should always be moving out like this guy does right now. It's very important that you always move out because you have nothing to do in the laning phase. You're basically just wasting time if you're standing up here. By going down here to the river, you're not gonna lose anything in the lane. You're gonna go right back up, push again, just like you did before. And then every single time, if the mid lane, let's say you see an opportunity to kill somebody, and you're already down here, it's gonna be a much shorter distance for you to go to the mid lane and gank. And if you see nothing happening, you just walk down here and walk back. It's no problem. Right now you see him just getting... He might be pushing past the wave. This is a very greedy thing that only works if you know the enemy jungler cannot be top. Normally you don't necessarily want to do this. As you can see, he's playing it very safe as well. The second Gnar is back, he is running. And the only reason he really does this is to keep the push and the pressure. He goes back up and he's just gonna focus on pushing. He's not focusing on killing the Gnar or anything like that. The only times Renekton will try to really kill Gnar is if he got his jungler there, which he does right now. But right now he's just doing the same thing as he did before, so Gnar doesn't know what's happening. And now they're gonna go for a kill, obviously. Renekton starts all the dives because he can just W and always gonna hit. And Elise can follow up. It's much easier to do it that way because Renekton is a guaranteed hit. And that's it for this guy. Basically, all I'm gonna be focusing on in these kind of guys is how to play the matchup, the basics behind the matchup and what to do. I'm not going to watch whole games. There's no point in that. We just want to have quick guys for you guys to watch so you guys can learn from it quickly. And if you guys want to go into a game, let's say you're going into a game, you're having this matchup, and you want to know what the hell am I going to do? Then you can quickly watch these guys, for example, the introduction I did, and you'll know what to do in this matchup.